But former employees reveal the disturbing shortcuts that make those prices possible. The biggest shock? Those pepperoni slices you're grabbing might be older than your last grocery shopping trip. Multiple former workers from locations across Texas and Oklahoma have confirmed that pizzas routinely sit under heat lamps for 4 to 6 hours daily. Health regulations require hot food to be discarded after 4 hours maximum, but CSIS locations frequently ignore this rule during busy periods. Even more disturbing is the practice of topping recycling. A former assistant manager from Phoenix posted a detailed confession on social media explaining how untouched toppings from returned pizza slices were scraped off and reused on fresh pies. We'd pick off the pepperoni, mushrooms, whatever looked clean, and put it right back on the next batch, he wrote. Management said it was reducing waste. Customers had no idea they were eating recycled food. The salad bar presents its own problems. Health inspectors in Florida found lettuce and tomatoes stored beyond their expiration dates, with fresh ingredients mixed in to mask the spoilage. A 2019 inspection report from a Jacksonville location documented wilted lettuce that had turned brown at the edges, still being served to families. Pest control issues plague multiple locations. Health departments in 6 states have cited CC's restaurants for rodent activity near food storage areas. One Alabama location was temporarily shut down after inspectors found mouse droppings in pizza sauce containers. Pizza problems pale in comparison to what happens when seafood meets the buffet model. Seafood at buffets creates the perfect storm for foodborne illness, and Hometown Buffet's track record proves that home-style branding can't mask industrial food handling disasters. This chain markets itself as serving comfort food like grandma used to make, but the reality is far from any grandmother's kitchen. The first shock comes from understanding what home-style actually means at Hometown Buffet. According to internal corporate documents leaked by former managers, 90% of their food arrives frozen and prepackaged from industrial suppliers. That homemade meatloaf? It's been sitting in a freezer for months before being thawed and reheated in massive batches. The mashed potatoes come from powder, the gravy from packets, and even the cornbread arrives preformed and frozen. Former employees describe a kitchen operation that prioritizes speed over sanitation. The same serving utensils rotate between multiple food stations without proper washing, creating cross-contamination risks that would horrify any health inspector. A former cook from Nevada revealed that during busy Sunday afternoons, the same ladle would serve both seafood chowder and vegetable soup without so much as a rinse in between. The seafood situation becomes particularly dangerous during peak hours. Multiple employees have reported being pressured to serve fish that clearly smelled off during busy periods. The manager would say it was just the seasoning, one former worker posted online. But we all knew that smell wasn't paprika. Health inspection reports from 14 states document recurring problems with rodent activity near food storage areas. A California location was cited for mouse droppings found in flour storage containers, while a Texas restaurant faced temporary closure after inspectors discovered rat feces near the salad bar prep station. When corporate chains struggle with safety, you might think smaller operations would be better. Regional chains like Ryan's Buffet should know their local communities better, but this Southern comfort food institution proved that familiarity breeds contempt for safety standards. The chain's downfall came not from changing tastes or economic pressures, but from a cascade of food safety disasters that left hundreds of customers hospitalized and the company facing bankruptcy. The most devastating incident occurred in March 2018 at a Lexington, Kentucky location. Over 150 people were rushed to hospitals with severe salmonella poisoning after eating contaminated chicken. The CDC investigation revealed that the outbreak strain was resistant to multiple antibiotics, making treatment more difficult and recovery times longer. 17 victims required intensive care, and 3 elderly customers nearly died from complications. Court documents from subsequent lawsuits exposed the systematic negligence behind the outbreak. Employees testified that they were routinely instructed to refresh old food by mixing it with newer batches to extend serving times. This practice, called cycling by management, meant that potentially contaminated food could remain in service for days rather than hours. The root cause went deeper than bad training. Internal emails revealed that broken refrigeration units at multiple locations had been operating improperly for weeks while corporate delayed repairs to reduce costs. Temperature logs showed chicken stored at 65 degrees Fahrenheit for over 8 hours at the Kentucky location, creating perfect conditions for bacterial growth. Health department records across 7 states document a pattern of repeat violations for improper food storage, inadequate hand-washing facilities, and employees working while visibly ill. The mounting legal costs from food poisoning lawsuits ultimately contributed to the chain's bankruptcy filing in 2019. Even international buffet chains aren't immune to these systemic problems. International cuisine adds another layer of complexity to buffet safety challenges, and Mandarin buffets' problems go far beyond cultural misunderstandings. This chain has faced repeated scrutiny for practices that would shock customers who think they're getting authentic Chinese food and fresh sushi. The most alarming discovery came from independent lab testing commissioned by a consumer advocacy group in 2021. Samples of General Tso's chicken from 12 Mandarin buffet locations contained only 37% actual chicken. The rest was pork, soy protein fillers, and binding agents. That's not a recipe variation. That's outright mislabeling that could trigger serious allergic reactions in customers with pork or soy sensitivities. The sushi bar presents even greater risks. Former employees from locations in Florida and Arizona have revealed that sushi rice is often left unrefrigerated for entire service periods during summer months. Health regulations require sushi rice to be kept below 41 degrees, but workers report being told to save electricity by turning off refrigeration units during peak hours when the doors open frequently anyway. A whistleblowing cook from a Phoenix location posted detailed accounts of being pressured to serve seafood that had clearly gone bad. The salmon would smell like ammonia, but the manager said to cover it with extra sauce. He wrote, "We'd get new fish deliveries on Monday and be told to use up the weekend leftovers first, even when they turn color." Health inspection reports from 18 states show recurring violations for employees not following proper hand-washing protocols. Multiple locations have been cited for workers handling raw fish, then immediately touching cooked items without washing hands or changing gloves. Seafood safety becomes even more concerning at dedicated seafood buffets. Dedicated seafood buffets amplify every risk we've discussed, and Captain D's locations have turned fish dinners into games of gastrointestinal roulette. When a restaurant specializes in the most perishable proteins available, proper handling becomes literally a matter of life and death. Yet this chain's track record suggests they've forgotten that basic principle. The most dangerous practice involves temperature control during busy periods. Health inspectors have documented seafood sitting at room temperature for over 2 hours during peak dining times at multiple Captain D's locations. That fried catfish and grilled shrimp you're eyeing might have been sitting in the danger zone long enough for bacterial colonies to multiply exponentially. Former employees paint an even grimmer picture of corner cutting that would horrify any seafood lover. Workers from locations in Louisiana and South Carolina have revealed that fish delivered on Fridays is routinely served through the following Wednesday. We'd freeze it, thaw it, refreeze it, whatever it took to stretch that delivery, one former cook admitted online. By Wednesday, that fresh fish had been through more temperature changes than a menopausal woman. Cross-contamination creates additional hazards in Captain D's prep areas. Health department reports document raw and cooked seafood being prepared on the same surfaces without proper sanitization between uses. Raw shrimp juices dripping onto ready-to-serve items has been cited at 7 locations across 3 states. The most serious incidents involve norovirus outbreaks traced to improper shellfish handling. A 2020 outbreak at a Mississippi location hospitalized 43 customers after contaminated oysters were served from a batch that had exceeded safe storage temperatures for over 6 hours. While seafood poses obvious risks, even dessert-focused buffets have their dark secrets. Even seemingly innocent desserts and breakfast foods can harbor serious dangers when profit margins matter more than food safety. Shoney's has built its reputation on all-American comfort food and nostalgic dining experiences. But decades of health violations reveal that this classic chain has been cutting corners since long before food safety became a trending topic. The breakfast buffet presents particularly troubling issues. Multiple former employees have confirmed that pancakes, scrambled eggs, and bacon are often prepared the night before and reheated multiple times throughout the morning service. A former kitchen manager from Tennessee posted detailed accounts of being instructed to serve eggs that had been cooked, refrigerated, reheated, and served again over a span of 18 hours. By the time customers got them, those eggs had more comeback tours than a retired rock star, he wrote. Perhaps most disturbing are employee reports of being forced to serve visibly moldy bread after simply cutting around the contaminated areas. Workers from locations in Virginia and North Carolina have shared photos of bread loaves with green and black mold spots, with managers instructing staff to slice off the affected portions and serve the rest to unsuspecting families. Health inspection reports reveal additional safety violations that compound these problems. Inspectors have found industrial cleaning chemicals stored directly next to food prep areas at multiple locations, creating risks of accidental contamination. A 2019 E. coli outbreak affected 47 customers across 3 Shoney's locations in Alabama, with investigators tracing the source to improper vegetable washing procedures and contaminated cutting boards used for both raw meat and fresh produce. Even upscale buffet concepts can't escape the fundamental problems of the model. High-end buffet concepts that promise fresh, healthy options often hide the same dangerous practices behind prettier presentations. Souplantation and Sweet Tomatoes marketed themselves as the antidote to typical buffet food. Fresh salads, artisanal soups, and wholesome ingredients that made health-conscious diners feel good about their choices. The chain's permanent closure during COVID-19 might seem like a pandemic casualty, but former employees reveal that safety problems had been festering long before any virus arrived. The salad bar that drew millions of customers was built on deception. Former managers from locations across California and Texas have admitted that wilted lettuce and vegetables past their prime were routinely mixed with fresh ingredients to extend their usable life. We'd take the brown edges off lettuce, chop it smaller, and blend it with the new stuff, a former assistant manager revealed in a detailed online confession. Customers thought they were getting farm-fresh greens, but half of it should have been composted days earlier. The soup kettles presented even greater health risks. Multiple former employees report that the large soup containers were rarely cleaned properly between batches, leading to bacterial buildup over time. A whistleblowing cook from Arizona posted photos showing thick, dark residue coating the bottom of soup warmers that had been in continuous use for weeks without deep cleaning. Customer behavior created additional contamination risks that management largely ignored. Observational studies found that 63% of customers use serving utensils incorrectly, touching food directly or using the same spoon across multiple dishes. Former managers admit they prioritize customer flow over enforcing proper utensil use, even when they witnessed obvious cross-contamination. Our final stop reveals how even beloved local buffets can harbor serious problems. Local buffet chains often carry the most personal disappointment because they feel like community institutions where families have celebrated for generations. Ponderosa Steakhouse promised the best of both worlds, quality steaks made to order combined with an unlimited buffet. But this combination created a perfect storm of food safety disasters that ultimately destroyed the chain's reputation. The steakhouse concept should have elevated food quality, but Ponderosa's execution turned premium ingredients into health hazards. Steaks were routinely pre-cooked hours before service and kept warm under heat lamps, transforming what should have been fresh, grilled meat into dried-out protein that had been sitting in the danger zone for extended periods. A former grill cook from Ohio posted viral videos showing steaks that had been cooked at 2 p.m. still being served at 8 p.m., their edges blackened and centers gray from prolonged heat exposure. Health inspection data reveals systematic temperature control failures across multiple food stations. Between 2015 and 2019, inspectors documented buffet items found at unsafe temperatures during 87% of routine inspections. The combination of hot food stations, salad bars, and dessert areas created too many temperature zones for understaffed locations to monitor properly. Employee testimonials paint an even darker picture. Workers from locations in Pennsylvania and West Virginia have shared disturbing accounts of being instructed to serve meat that had visibly changed color. The ribeye would turn gray-brown, but management said to slice it thinner and cover it with steak sauce, one former employee wrote. We knew it was wrong, but we needed the job. The consequences became undeniable as customer complaints about food poisoning increased 300% between 2015 and 2019. Multiple locations faced permanent closure following severe health department violations, ending decades of family dining traditions with headlines about contaminated food rather than community celebrations. The truth about buffet dining is clear. When restaurants prioritize volume over safety, unlimited food becomes unlimited risk. These 9 chains represent thousands of locations where corners were cut, standards were ignored, and customer health became secondary to profit margins. Your next dining decision deserves better than a gamble with your digestive system.